interesting and important. We have an important announcement to make. I'm not going to make it right away, but kind of excited about this announcement finally. But I'll get to that a little bit later. But first, we are approaching 20,000 subscribers. So if you're just watching this for the first time, you're interested in upholstery on any level, I think that we can offer people on any level some tidbits and some information that they might not have. Just as a reminder, the YouTube videos are designed really for do-it-yourselfers and first-timers mainly. The other things that we do, like the Facebook forum, where people who have been doing this for a while get together and talk about projects and help one another. And then I guess at the top level would be the online classes, and you could go to Upholstery on Broadway for those and speak at the classes. That is about the announcement we're going to get to later. But subscribers, we're almost at 20,000. Do you have any idea what the actual number is, Patrick? Because I see 19.2 for the last, I don't know how long.
19,377.
It seems like it's taken forever, man, to get to 20,000. I said to Patrick before we started, is it me or is it taking longer to get to 20 than any? He said, no, it just seems that way. Seems like I've been talking about it for how many questions and answers, Patrick?
I don't know, like a month now.
And I think we get something special. What, we get a T-shirt or something from YouTube?
No, you get a plaque at 100,000.
A plaque. We don't get anything for 20.
No.
Well, I think it's great. I think that every subscriber is earned. I think that every subscriber gets something. I think we figured out though that only 1/10, if you're lucky, people who actually watch the videos will subscribe. Is that true, Patrick, or close to it?
I'm not sure.
So if you look at it that way, we should have near 200,000 subscribers. I don't know if the math works, but anyhow. So I'm going to save the announcement for a little bit more until we get through some business here. I have some interesting, different type of a business that I got correspondence through the mail from two people. One of them, I don't know if Randy's listening, Patrick, or he's on there, but I want to say thank you to Randy for sending me a birthday card. And the card says, you are you are how old? And then inside it says, no wonder we can't teach you any new tricks. Happy birthday from one old dog to another. Happy birthday, Randy. Thank you, Randy. I really appreciate that. That's going up on the wall at the shop
So
in
you'll have
Arlington.
to send him one.
Yeah. And then we got something very interesting. This is really interesting on different levels. And I think it complements. I think there's a lot of complimentary stuff here for all of us and all of the effort, especially on the online classes. This is from Malcolm, and he owns Jolly Dodger Canvas, and I'm going to hold his company up, his name. That's his logo. He's in Arizona, Tempe, Arizona.
And he's taking the online class, too.
He's taking the online classes, and I'm going to read to him what he has done for us and what he says. So he says, Dear Kevin, I purchased your online course package and have gone through a few modules and have found the information provided quite valuable. Thank you for creating this educational program, ! I'm making a career transition from professional film production, and I've been designing and making prototypes of soft goods, and I'm interested in adding upholstery as another offering in my new business. Good luck with that, Malcolm. He says, he goes on, while watching you and Jimmy work, I notice how often the both of you hunt for your tools after putting them down under the work or moving them to the side tables. I have enclosed one right hand and one left hand share sheaths for you and Jimmy. Say that 10 times fast. These are prototypes of products I design and fabricate myself and thought you could use them in your work. I have to say I've already used them and they really have come in handy. And I thought it was very thoughtful, too, that he gave Jimmy a left-handed pair or sheath for Jimmy's left-handed pair of scissors. So there is a difference in the sheaths if you're wearing left or right, Patrick?
Yeah, true.
The sheath is designed for shears up to 12 inches, width 22 Ws, and the small pocket is for 8.5-inch trimmers. I've also been able to stick a regulator in the small pocket, too. Randy, are you listening? I think that you might be interested in this. And all of you upholsterers out there, I think it's terrific that he's recognized us like this, and he's given us, I think, a shout out is worthwhile. So it's Jolly Dodger. Let me go on here. Having worked in carpentry for many years, I find having your most used tools literally hanging from your belt is a huge time saver. One more thing. Buy Jimmy some left-handed shears. So I wanted to. I know, but you know what? I people have noticed. I think Randy noticed that too, Patrick. That Jimmy is very awkward with the scissors. But Jimmy, I asked Jimmy about that. He said they are left-handed. He has used left-handed shears, but he can't, as a left-handed person, he can't use them. And so he uses right-hand pair because he's more comfortable with the right-handed pair of scissors, which is unusual. I think he might need a little occupational therapy. What do you think, Patrick? He says it's painful to watch him struggle cutting fabric with right-handed shears. So, you know, it is. I've tried. I've worked with Jimmy on this, but at least he gets the job done. I think what he needs to do is really make sure his scissors are sharp, that's for sure. So he goes on. The last paragraph is, let me know if the sheath works. I already told him it works. Jimmy has not been presented with his yet, but we will be presenting Jimmy next week with that sheath, Patrick. He'll be surprised at that. I left it at the shop. Otherwise, I'd show you guys.
He was doing his first class for the new class.
He says they are prototypes. So I'm still working on the final design. Longer, shorter, different materials, etc. I would like your input. The belt attachment, I think it would be best to have Jimmy give input on that, because I think as somebody that's like a journeyman, he might kind of fit into it a little bit better. The belt attachment system is a PALS, and he says that's pouch attachment ladder system. Military style attachment. I have to tell you, Patrick, I felt like I was wearing a holster.
Yeah, it looked like that. Yeah. That was cool.
Did you see me using it?
No, I saw it on the package.
Oh.
I opened it up.
He says it is military style attachment system, and I also make aprons with matching webbing for additional tool holders and pouches, which I fabricate as well.
Randy said something funny. He said, something useful. I use an apron, but the pockets are too deep.
I agree. Watching Jimmy cut is painful.
I don't know. I don't know what else to do, because I got him these scissors. I'm going to look at these now. So these are right-handed scissors, and he says he likes these better than the left-handed, and then I have these sharpened. So we'll see how he does when he comes in with a sharpened pair of right-handed scissors. But we've tried that. I tried every size of wrists with him, left-handed, right-handed. And, you know, he's still awkward with the scissors. What can I say? I don't know. I guess some people just, maybe, you know, now that I think about it, you have scissors that are not left-handed or right-handed. These are just a straight scissors. I think I've even tried them on these. So it's not lack of trying. And I know when you're watching the online classes, right, Patrick?
Yeah.
He doesn't, you know, Jimmy's a great guy. You know, he doesn't get frustrated easy. You know, if you notice, I don't know if you know how much of a benefit that is when you're learning a trade, especially with Jimmy, you know, when you're a little older. You know, I don't know if you realize just how good Jimmy is in the position of apprentice, you know, because it takes a lot of, I think I've mentioned this before, it takes a huge amount of patience. It takes humility, really. What does it take to be a good upholsterer? You have to practice humility, I think, to be a good upholsterer, especially in the beginning. I guess that's true with a lot of trades, because, you know, if anybody out there that's been a trade, you had a mentor, and a lot of the things that you had to do before you even approach the tools or anything, maybe cleaning the floor, you know, doing the dirty jobs in the shop before you get a chance to advance at all, they're testing you out, depending on the size of the shop too. But I think most mentors do not want to waste their time with somebody that's not willing to put the work and the sweat in, and they have to have the right approach to learning. And Jimmy, if you guys have seen the online class, if you haven't, you should check it out. And some people buy these classes, they don't even do upholstery. Did you know that, Patrick?
Yeah.
They buy them for the entertainment value. I don't know. I don't think it's comedy. I don't think it's comedy at all in the online class, right? We try to be serious. But anyhow, let me get to some other business. And as usual, comments, questions while I'm going along here. We got a lot of response on the YouTube. We got, I think, 14 responses in, like, that was a couple of days after the last live show. So that's really good. I think that's excellent. So
also have a new video up too of the
that helps.
you peeking out the back of the truck as the sofa's falling on.
Oh, the moving damage. How to save money on move. You know, we love our movers, but boy, can they be clumsy, huh, Pat?
I guess.
Okay.
Depends who you hire.
There's a moving company around us called
Jimmy's Moving?
no, well, no, it's called a Bigfoot. There's a Bigfoot Movers. There's a Gentle Giant Movers, and Gentle Giant was started by a man locally in Boston who was giving people, and I agree so much with his business model, but he was giving people a chance who have down on their luck or maybe had made some mistakes in their past, and he was motivating these people to become movers. But he's also a rower and into athletics. So if you were going to be working for him, you had to be on the row team that he had. I can't remember the name of the fellow who runs this company, but if you guys want to Google it, you'll see it's an unusual business model. He runs his company almost like a sport, and I think the guys like it. I think you got to be young and athletic in order to work there. But moving is very difficult, so I think it fits well. Anyhow, I don't know why I brought that up because of the video, right, Patrick? Yeah. Stuffing a cushion cheaply and effectively, Brian says, is a good idea. I already poke extra bits of Dacron to fill in the corners. That's good. You know, some Dacrons are better than others. You never use cotton, you guys, on corners. Never use cotton. Cotton balls up, right? As a matter of fact, cotton's kind of it's for the byproduct, you know, when you got scraps of cotton, it's kind of hard to find places for them. I think the best place for scrap cotton is in outsides. You know, before you put your stretcher on, it actually provides a little bit of soft support on the outsides. It's just a filler. It shouldn't be used for cushions. So your choices with Dacron would be bonded Dacron or loose Dacron. I think loose Dacron is better than bonded Dacron. Now, if you're going to use bonded Dacron, you can actually pull it to make it softer in order to put into the corners. If it's too, it will ball up. The bonded Dacron, if you don't do that, will ball up and it won't look good. So something soft. The loose Dacron I find is the best. And I can't remember what I used in that. I don't know if I talked about that. Tommy, he says, on the repairing a popped or broken button, he said, saved hundreds of dollars because of your video. Thank you. And he's appreciative. Anytime we save people money, it's a good thing, right, Patrick? Yeah. For the YouTubers out there. And John, on the wing chair post cuts. Wing chair post cuts. I have a chair with round posts that are exposed. I am having the hardest time trying to make it look right. Yeah. So, John, so when you have a rounded post that's exposed like that, it's a very short cut. It's a very precise cut. And that's why you're having a problem. And it's not always, a lot of times people will make these cuts or any cut, and they automatically think that they should cut deeper, or that's not always the right thing to do. As a matter of fact, I find that most of the times it's not. So what you want to do before you start cutting deeper is project from that cut both back and front to make sure the fabric is tight. And then sometimes when you make that adjustment, either back or front, because I assume that you've already pulled this the way I teach people how to pull and stretch fabric. And if you want to have better lessons on that, the online classes go into that extensively. We don't really always have time in the YouTube classes to really focus like that. But if you watch Jimmy, 24 classes in his last class, Patrick, that settee class. 23 times an hour, on average an hour or more. I'd say he's got almost 30 hours of filming there, right?
I'd say 30 to 40.
Holy cow.
Shorter.
Huh?
They were around. I think that those videos in that class are around 30 minutes each.
Oh, so it's not
the
as...
way it was segmented. Yeah.
Still, so you're probably talking about 15 hours maybe,
Yeah,
but a
still
lot of editing, right, Pat?
Yeah.
So we're able to pay more attention in the online classes.
And come fall, we'll have a new one up.
And that's where Jimmy's role is so important. Jimmy's not afraid to ask questions, no matter how they might sound. And the reason that's important is because how many people in their class, you can remember being in a class and you had a question but you didn't want to ask out of embarrassment or the teacher was too busy or whatever, and it goes unanswered because it wasn't even spoken. So Jimmy is really good at, and I'm not sure if even Patrick, you appreciate this, how good he is.
Oh, of course I do.
At just, he does his job is as an apprentice. And something else I notice about Jimmy is some of the questions that he asks, I know that he knows the answer to. He's asking the question for the benefit of new people who are watching the class. So he's very good. So John, I would say those are hard cuts. I don't think I've ever featured a cut like that. So don't be thinking that it's you. It's just a difficult cut because you have nothing to hide the cut. That's why it's a surface cut. It's a very thin cut. You still have to do the 3 cuts. You have to do the post cut to the middle and then a little flare on each side. So, but it's and depending on the fabric, you can have a problem. So you may have to on something like this, if it's not working for you still after these suggestions, you may have to cut it out. Leave yourself a 1/2 inch and then put a piping on it. And then the piping can be pulled tight and you'll have it would look perfect with the piping. I think John might know what I mean because I think he's an upholsterer. So let's put that over here. Any questions or comments?
Nope, just hey Sylvia.
So Randy is in here. He's commenting on the upholstery show. Thanks, Randy, for...
Yeah, Randy is here.
Hi, Randy.
Chat, yeah.
At the end of this question and answer, I asked about oil changes on your self-oiling Juki. Once a year makes a lot of sense. I think I said once a year. What type of oil? The manual for my console is not helpful in this subject. Hold on 1 second, because I have the oil with me. Hold on.
Looks like water.
It's a funny name. Lily White Sewing Machine Oil. So I'm going to hold this up so he can get the information. Can he see this, Michaela? That's what you want. Okay? Good question, Randy. I'll put that right there. So this is from a very good source, you guys. This is from a company called Reliable Sewing here in Massachusetts. They were in Stoughton. I'm not sure if they're still in business, but they used to design sewing machines, Patrick. You'll appreciate this. And during the Iraq War, I think, he was hired to manufacture a machine. He had to manufacture a sewing machine. This guy was smart. This guy was like a genius. His name was Mel. He's long passed, but the military hired him to make a sewing machine, Patrick, in order to sew parachutes for supplies, heavy supplies, being shipped to the troops.
Wow, that's really cool.
So this guy knew what he was doing. He was actually an engineer, and he actually made the machines. And this is the oil he used, so it's good enough for him. It's good enough for us, right, guys?
Little question.
Yep.
Sylvia.
Hi, Sylvia.
I'm running short on fabric. Is it possible to attach a piece to it, like where it would be hidden as a pull piece?
Yeah. We use pull pieces all the time, as long as you don't see the pull. As long as you don't see the pull, because I assume you're going to use a different fabric. Yeah, manufacturers they're the ones that use it most, because when they're figuring out yardages on pieces, they figure right to the inch, and those pulls, which are cheaper in most cases than the fabric, save them money, save them fabric and money, not time though. I don't know how they do that, because now you think of it, it's a little bit more time to sew a pull on than it is just to cut the fabric, so it still must be advantageous for them. The manual, so Randy goes on, when I got the machine secondhand about 3 years ago, a lily white sewing machine oil. I didn't read this, Patrick. Mainly because it was labeled colorless, non-staining. Dude, what's the problem with this oil? I didn't read this before I took my oil out. This is the oil you want. What's he saying now? Let me go back here. I asked about oil changes. Once a year makes a lot of sense. What about the type of oil? The manual console is not helpful. So the manual doesn't tell you the oil. When I got the machine secondhand, I used lily white sewing machine oil. That's the exact oil you want to use, Randy. This is really good information, by the way, for all you guys out there who are wondering. A couple of things here. The Juki, by far, is the best machine anywhere. And the Juki that I have, can you read me what that says, that code? Patrick, just turn around and read the number on that machine. It's an odd DL number or something?
DDL5550N.
Did they hear you? Say it again.
DDL5550N.
So that's the Juki. The thing about that machine, that's one of their teaching machines. That means that I can use it even better as a professional upholsterer. There's less that can go wrong with it. Self-oiling, right, Randy, is the biggest factor. So what this machine, unfortunately, I don't agree with the business tactics that they used when they produced this machine. I believe it's from South Korea, and what they did was they reversed engineered the Singer machines, and they took the best from the Singer machine and added the self-oiling mechanism, and that did it, because the Singer was unwilling to change when this competition was happening. They were unwilling to not put the oil up at the top. They figured that people like putting their own oil in 3 different spots. But speaking of spots, who wants to get oil on any fabric? And that was the problem with the Singers. Mechanically, they were beautiful machines. They were a 100-year company, Patrick. And then Juki comes along, reverse engineers, like, let's face it, Americans were great at engineering 100 years ago, Patrick. They were the best, American ingenuity and all that. No. And, well, this is what happens. You put your product up there, and anybody anywhere in the world can reverse engineer what you have and come up with a better product and put another pattern number on there or something. Who knows? But this is the machine that I use. That was hard for me to make the transition from Singer to the Juki, but it saves me time and money. Question number 2, because I'm too lazy to look myself, in one of your YouTube videos or online classes, there's something on joining welt cord with your sewing cushions. Yeah. Something on joining welt cord when you are sewing cushions. I never do that. The only time I do that is if I have a repair job, which I am staying away from, right, Patrick? Repair jobs are coming to me. I used to take them because I felt bad for people. They have a cushion, the welting's coming off. Usually it's a manufacturer's cushion. And I've learned that manufacturers have machines that make the entire cushion the same. Can you believe it? They don't have separate piping on the cushion, Randy. Randy must know this, and you guys out there, you realize. So you take it apart, and you end up, the whole cushion falls apart on you. So that's one fact. The other thing is how, fabric gets dry and it rips easy, and you get yourself into more trouble. But as far as custom cushions, never do I piece it. I always plan it out, and I try to get my piping. I'm teaching now Michaela how to cut fabric. I always leave a long piece, no matter what, of fabric. It's a good habit to get into. When you're cutting the fabric, try not to. A lot of people like to cross cut and get an even cut and then go on to their next cuts. That's okay in the beginning, but as you go along, it's another reason why the online classes are terrific, because we do that, Patrick, A to Z, right? Jimmy cut his own fabric, right? Yes, he did. He did everything himself except the cushion, because we had to have Bernice come in with a cushion, remember?
I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. But, we show you this, and we people say, well, I wish I'd shut up and stop hopping on certain elements. But I know how important it is, and so I do. And you should check it out. If you haven't checked the online classes out, please do. I know Randy has. So I do not have a video about something like that. Thanks for all your effort you put into the YouTube and online classes. Thanks, Randy. And then Keith, for the 18th century English Victorian chair. Keith Wallington. That sounds like an Englishman, doesn't it? Is this a nasty comment, Patrick?
I don't think so. There's that guy you met, the upholsterer over there.
Keith, we got a couple of negative. Patrick always likes to erase the negative comments, but I think we should read them. Somebody said I was the worst upholsterer on the YouTube, and somebody else said I was Joe Blank the Rag Man.
That was a hack.
What you have to remember, the YouTube videos mainly are designed for real, entry level, real beginners. So I don't, you want to try to intimidate somebody away from upholstery. So what am I going to do? Show them diamond. My first video is going to be how to diamond tough with leather. Yes, anybody can do that, right?
Oh, there's Malcolm. He said, "Good, you got the package."
Oh, Malcolm,
Yes.
Thank you very much. Hey, Malcolm, have you ever tufted? No, I'd ask this to Randy. Have you ever tufted with leather? Leather tufted, diamond tufting. Keith says, yes, you are correct. And you are thinking they are English chairs, as far as I can see, and you had noted they had been restored in the past and have French webbing under the frame, as we only use black and white 2-inch wide, as with French being 3-inch wide. Wow, this guy knows his details. I always stitch springs in a square. It says square, but I know he means square. And after fixing my cords, do the same on the tarpaulin. You called it burlap, with a lot thinner. But we all do things a bit different work-wise, and I like finding out, just as you have, what's in the inside. Best wishes to a fellow craftsman, 13th July 7th, 2022. Yeah, thank you, Keith. I wouldn't criticize somebody else's work. I remember I was working in a shop where there was a lot of upholstery and a lot of competition, and the boss was on this guy who was a really good upholsterer. This guy came from a carpentry background, and he was really good. And he was arguing with this guy, saying he didn't want him to tie springs in a particular way. And the point this upholsterer had, arguing with the boss, maybe not a good idea, he says, what difference does it make as long as it comes out the same and is the good quality, the quality is there, which it does. I wouldn't criticize anybody else's work. So, what?
Malcolm says, Jimmy just needs some therapy, sheer therapy.
I hope Jimmy is on there watching from...
I think he's on vacation. I don't think he'd be on
He's
there.
up in Maine. I think he's Sasquatch hunting. He's up there hunting for Sasquatch. Randy says, repairing moving damage. This is the new one, Patrick. You got a comment.
Nice.
Randy says, good video, thank you. A DIY substitute for a regulator is an ice pick, about $5 at Ace Hardware, maybe less on eBay. Exactly. We call it an awl. I'm not sure if he's referring, and Randy is, I guess it's the same thing, an awl or an ice pick. But the point is you have a handle and you have a point at the end, but it's not needle sharp. It's a little bit of a thicker metal that's used. It is a point, but not needle, not that sharp. Because a lot of times when you're working a regulator or an awl, and you guys have seen this probably only on the online classes I talk about this, because Jimmy wanted to know, because he was sticking like this with some fabric on the ply grip or something at one point. So I showed him the proper way to hold a regulator, which is your index finger here, your thumb here, get a firm grip. It can't be loose in your hands. You want a firm grip. And most of the work on a regulator is done at about the 1 inch from the point. The only time I use the point of a regulator that I can think of right now is when I'm going through muslin to work horsehair. That's it. I can't think of another reason why I would use the point. Only that one thing I can think of right now. Mainly it's right in here. You're tucking fabric mainly without the point, but with that 1 inch up. That's it. And an ice pick or an awl would do the same thing. Although, if you notice, the regulator, it's got a nice thinning, whereas an awl is probably thick all the way to the point. The regulator is a specific upholsterer's tool, you guys. You can see it's a little bent at the end. That's where I caught Jimmy trying to take a staple out. I'm just kidding. It's probably me. Anyhow.
Randy says, no diamond tufts in leather. Don't like the self-abuse.
Yeah, it's really not easy. You have to be strong.
An ice pick is like a regulator with a big wooden handle.
There you go.
Malcolm said, I looked up left-handed shears, and true left-handed shears have blades reversed. KAI makes some too.
I wonder if that's his problem. I'll have to ask Jimmy if, to look at some of those. Thank you. Sarah says, I appreciate the tips. This is the Upholstery Show. You've given on the follow-through with drop-offs. I don't know what she means by that. Do you, Patrick?
I don't know. I think she's here. Somebody named Sarah.
Let me repeat that. I appreciate the tips you're given on the follow-through with drop-offs. I delivered a piece, my first paid job, and made... dropping off a piece. Yeah. She said, I delivered a piece, my first paid job. Yay! Do we have a drum roll or a bell? No. I made sure thread was trimmed and was in a bag. More than anything, I think those tips helped me feel confident when I took it to her. Although I learned that, I very much undercharged, although I'm not even close to industry time. I'm very proud of Sarah, and I think really a plastic bag and paying attention to cleaning a project off can be the difference between somebody liking a job and not liking a job. I mean, think about it. When people, I think Amazon figured this out, right, Pat? Not that I like the big box stores, but packaging is everything. Patrick is good at this too. Patrick always told me, because we do our own sales, right? Packaging, Patrick. Do we do a good job packaging, Patrick?
That's Michaela. She had a problem with packaging recently.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, we had something.
We received a package. It was demolished. Completely destroyed.
It's like the truck ran it over.
Well, that's different. But packaging is important. Presentation. I mean, how would you say, Michaela, that was presented? That package was presented to you.
It was presented like trash.
So it wasn't good. So delivering a piece of furniture. You know, it's funny. Let's say I do a chair, okay? I clean the cushions off probably 3 times to make sure I get everything off. I make sure that it looks good. It's all squared up, even though I filled the cushion. And then I put it in a separate package. I don't ever put the cushion in the chair, because how many times I've seen a cushion fall off even when it was on plastic, fall off. Okay, so don't do that. And then if it has a skirt, you need to tape the skirt up. You need to tape the pockets first and then the rest of it, except if it's velvet or chenille or ultra suede. You can't tape any of those, or leather. The leathers today are so poor that you put a piece of tape on it and pull the tape off, you're going to take all the dyes. And that shouldn't happen. I mean, the older leather would never do that because the older leather was dyed properly. But today, we stopped using leathers because of this problem. Not because of the tape problem, but just because of the poor quality. So anyhow, I tape the skirt up. I make sure it's all clean, obviously, and then when you how many times you pull the skirt and then you see little strands from the muslin hanging there, and you trim that. Sometimes, if I had a very stringy fabric, I'll take a piece of 1/2-inch masking tape and I'll tape the whole underneath side so that the customer won't see anything hanging. Okay, that's an indication of a poor job. No matter that it's underneath the skirt, it doesn't matter to a customer. They only see thread hanging. That's not good. So make sure all the threads are clipped, and then I put a bag over that, and then I tape the bag down. I go around the legs, each leg, and I make sure that it's nice and tight so that the wind's not going to bring it up. Wind will catch. If you don't properly secure the bag, the wind will come. I had one guy that was helping me on a sofa delivery, and he didn't. I told him, you got to make sure you take the tape and tape it down well. Well, he didn't, and we're bringing the sofa in, and the wind came. The bag went over his head. Patrick, the bag went over his head, and I heard him say, "Oh." What he was saying was, "I can't breathe. Put the sofa down."
Oh my God.
So we put the sofa down. I said, "See, I told you. You gotta make sure you." That wasn't presenting very well. We don't want people dying when they're delivering sofas, but anyhow, presentation's really important. And then when you bring it into the house, taking it apart, taking the tape off, lowering the skirt, lowering the pockets first. Customers are watching you, and that makes a huge difference, right? Patrick, you've been with me when we've done that, when we've taken the plastic off, right?
Yeah, it's like a reveal.
It makes them feel good. Like it makes them feel like if they're Christians, that it's Christmas morning, or if it's Hanukkah, that it's the 12 days of Hanukkah, whatever. Or if it's Festivus, right, Patrick?
Yeah, most important one.
By the way, the aluminum pole is over there. The feats of strength will be performed after this. I'm way behind on this. I'm sorry. Do we have any other comments or anything, Patrick, before I go on? Told you we got a lot to go through here.
Deborah's joined. Hi, Deborah.
Hi, Deborah. You missed the best part. No, I'm just kidding. We're talking about sewing oil. Who would know? Sewing machine oil. Right, Patrick? I feel like it's a cooking show now. Can you cook with this, Michaela?
Probably die.
Don't. Just kidding, you guys. Don't cook with this machine oil. So here we got How to Upholster 1860s chair. There it is again, Patrick. That's such a popular one, isn't it?
That was a whole series, right? We did like 4 of them.
Yeah. I found, Al says, I found a free Victorian rocker on Marketplace that I'm so ready to restore now. You have made me excited, that's in large lettering, instead of nervous within these 5 videos. The rocker wood has a section that was broken and glued, and the wood finish needs to be redone as well. Do you teach wood refinishing? Nope, stay away from it, you guys, sorry. How amazing. This skill is becoming a lost art, and as a younger person, I seek to keep old traditions and art forms as tools and skills to pass on, so they don't become gone. It's one of the reasons why we do this, right, Patrick? How to upholster. He has another comment on part 4. That was part 5. This is part 4. Will construction-style heavy-duty staple gun and staples work if you don't have an air compressor for pneumatic staple gun and don't want to tack? Will it hold up? I wouldn't use it because those staples are thicker. I think that's the main reason. I don't know if Randy would agree with this, but I'd like his input. I think anything other than the upholstery staples are low gauge, are really thin gauged, which really goes through the wood nicer. He's talking about these construction heavy-duty staples. I wouldn't use it. I think what will happen is they're too thick and they'll split the wood. Also, may I reuse my old horsehair that came out of my chair? Absolutely. We encourage that, right, Pat? And you can wash old horsehair. You can put it in a pillowcase. Make sure the pillowcase is well closed. You might even want to stitch it closed if you've got an old pillowcase, because you do not want the horsehair escaping the pillow. Especially, you do not go into a laundromat and do this. They don't like that. You wouldn't be their best friends if that happened there, because they don't even want you cleaning horse blankets, which have horsehair on them, right? Michaela knows this, right? Michaela's a horse person. Where do they clean their horse blankets down there, Michaela?
Oh, I have no idea. I'm not sure.
How do they do it?
The hose, probably.
So we reuse horsehair all the time. And of course, we can get new fresh horsehair too, can't we, Patrick, at the Upholstery on Broadway site, right? Right, Pat?
I don't think we've had one sale on it.
Of horsehair.
It's
expensive.
Expensive, yeah.
Now, Miss Thrifty, she has a comment on the Upholstery Show Live. Just want to say I recently found your videos. Now I am watching them all. Wow. I will probably be signing up for one or more of your video classes. I have several projects to work on. I have a 1930s French-style sofa and chair. I took an upholstery class about 3 or 4 years ago, and I've never completed the chair I started with. I am now preparing to pick up where I left off, finishing the springs, etc. My sofa looks like the settee project that Jimmy works on. Love your education and knowledge. Have a few other accent pieces, ottomans, and work on too. Thanks. Well, I might as well. It's a good segue, Patrick. I want to announce this special announcement that I have now. We are going to start classes on Tuesdays and Thursday nights in Arlington, Massachusetts from 6 to 8. We're really excited about this. It's going to be a small class of 6. Each class is a class of 6. Evenings, I think a lot of more people are available in evenings. The cost is, it's going to be an 8-week class. And first come, first serve. Normally, when I was doing these classes, we had about 30 people a week. We're only offering right now 12, 2 6-person classes. So sign up if you guys are interested. I'm giving all of you guys the first dibs on this. This is the first time I'm announcing it. So if you're watching, you want to take a class in Arlington, Massachusetts, starting on September 30th is the Tuesdays. They run to October 25th, and on Thursdays, October 1st to the 10/27. They aren't even posted on the website yet. So if you want to reserve a spot, if you text me a message at 978-460-5184. You could text me, and then we could the text will reserve your spot, and then of course the check will make it solid. Of course, it's $500. For that many classes. I think it's a good deal. It's the going rate in the Boston area. It's not more, it's not less. So people, again, this is what people are getting now. I mean, when I first started this, I think we were getting like $325. This is like 10 years ago. So they've gone up, but I still think they're great value. I mean, it's like a movie. They're really interesting classes. We have fun. And we usually listen to the music, and people are helping one another, and it's a great class. It's what you see on with Jimmy on the online classes times 6. So there'll be 6 people, all different types of people. It'll be fun, and I can't wait. I haven't done this in a while. We're gonna go for it. So if you guys are interested, 978-460-5184 to get you your spot on either Tuesday or Thursday night, starting September 30th and October 1st. All right, Patrick? Now, Patrick's going to be posting that too, right, Pat, on the website?
Yep, I'm going to be trying to get a sign-up thing going, so like, you can sign up online.
Yeah, but, so...
catch you up. Derek, hi, Derek from Kentucky.
Yeah, hi.
Claire says, fantastic news.
Oh, good. Yeah, thanks, Claire. I'm always telling other people. I've been bugging Janine forever. We're going to get to some questions or some comments that Janine had.
It'll be tough for Janine to take a in-person class from all the way from
yeah. Did you see this what's this new Megaverse, Patrick? I'm not sure if I don't know if it's a good thing, Pat.
Facebook stuff. I don't know.
Well, they wear, what do you wear a mask and you can do anything anywhere in the world. You go fly.
Goggles.
The goggles.
3D goggles.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I don't think Janine would take a class with one of those goggles on, would she? Can you see her over in Australia taking a class in Arlington with that in the metaverse?
One day, you know, it's gonna happen.
I'm joking about this, but what do you think of the feasibility there?
It's just crazy. I'm surprised.
Well, why not? I don't know.
I'll just add on to that. I will be making a whole page on the site about the in-person classes. Bring that back.
But meanwhile, if you want to get the jump, if you want to get it, you guys, if you want to get in, this is where the first announcement is here, and you just text me. Unfortunately, I forgot my phone, which is the first time I've done that in a long time. So I don't have my phone with me, so I don't know if anybody's texting already. But again, it's 978-460-5184. And Michaela will turn the camera over to my... Can you turn the camera now, Michaela, to... That maybe people will look back at this and see that. Does that have all the information that you can see?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, and the next thing is from... it's Miss Thrifty. This is the Upholstery Show Live. Just want to say I recently found your videos. Oh, well, I read that, right, Patrick?
Yeah, you got that.
Or did I finish reading it? Oh, I did finish reading that. Okay, good. Okay, the next page, Janine. As usual, I want to just a special shout out to Janine, who always comments on the question and answer. She sees these late, right, Patrick? Or she's right now in Australia. It is late. She can't watch them live, put it that way, right?
Yeah.
But she's always good at responding to what she sees, and I really appreciate that, because to fill in the questions and answers we rely on the YouTube comments, right, Patrick?
Yeah.
I think that's most of the reason why we do this.
Right, and the Facebook.
And the Facebook, but it was designed more, you guys, for the online classes, which is curious. We don't get as many questions from the online classes, do we, Patrick?
No, I've seen there's a comment section on that.
Do you remember, though, that...
The notification will come up if somebody leaves one. I think they just come to YouTube. Which
Yeah,
is fine.
but
Or the forum.
But they're utilizing all 3 or 4. So we have the YouTube, we have the Facebook, we have the online classes, and we have this show. There are 4 places where they can get information from. I mean, I think that's pretty darn good, don't you?
Yeah.
And 3 of the 4 are free. What more do you want? The online classes, I think, Janine actually, I think, says this. Hold on, she does have a good comment. Our students speak better than we can about it, right, Patrick?
Yeah.
Janine says, the first comment is, great question and answer today, which was last week. Love the quote sections and looking forward to the Shellback online class coming soon. And Patrick, when will that be up?
I'm aiming for the fall, because right now we're busy going to try to get these in-person classes going.
Right.
We're actually filming another class with Jimmy. So.
And we have
I'd say
learned...
the fall would be where that Shellback comes up.
Well, we've got a lot going on. We've got the in-house class. We've got Jimmy's... we've got a lot going on. The YouTube classes, Patrick. So Janine says, the online classes have excellent camera angles, Patrick. Production values, Patrick and Michaela, and show everything in big letters, everything step by step. I have had a yearly subscription from day 1 and highly recommend the online classes. Patrick, Janine, day 1.
Thank you.
Day 1. Yeah, I can't thank you enough. I mean, I think, certain people have kind of like, they string you along in a good way, but they just kind of keep you going by offering these comments. And she was right from the beginning, Patrick, right? So I think it's fantastic. Thanks, Janine, for being a good friend. We appreciate it. And then Janine says, regarding sponsorship, you do what you feel is right for you and your brand. So what I felt was right was Malcolm. I think Malcolm is sincere in what he is doing. I think I don't mind featuring Malcolm at all. Do you, Patrick?
Oh, anybody who helps out, for sure.
And again, Malcolm is at Jolly Dodger Canvas, and he's in Tempe, Arizona. He doesn't have a phone number down here, but Michaela tells me he has a Facebook page, right, Michaela? Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if Jolly Dodger has a website, because he's just starting out. He should let us know. It's Jolly Dodger Canvas. And then from Silver Bell...
It's Sylvia.
Sylvia. Uh-oh. This is a Jimmy comment, I think. I am a hillbilly, she starts out. As I was growing up, I was called that. My parents laughed at it. I was actually proud and still am. That judgment was just misunderstood on the judge's part. I was educated, encouraged to work hard, treat others well, and have joy in the hard times. I feel hillbilly name is just a cultural misunderstanding of the culture. She says it well, doesn't she?
Yeah.
And she says it without anger. I like that. I think we oftentimes get very defensive about stereotypes. I happen to be more Irish than anything else. We kind of take it with a grain of salt, don't we, Patrick?
Yeah.
I mean,
I
people...
don't know how many times I've heard, how much do you drink?
Oh, you drink, you're a leprechaun, even though you're 6'10" or whatever you are. Last time I checked, I think he's almost 7 feet tall, you guys. But, no, 6'2", I think. 6'2", right, Patrick?
Yeah, 6'2".
But,
6'2".
you were called leprechauns. Somebody once said, I had somebody pass in my family, and they said, did you have an Irish wake? They haven't done Irish wakes in a long time, Patrick. But I think we take it with a grain of salt, And I think
I got you up here. Malcolm says leather tufting is something in my distant future. It's very hard.
Yeah.
Derek says your YouTube videos have been a big help. Had an old classic chair I was doing. I was having a problem with doing the back. Thank you, he says.
You're welcome. I try to keep it. There's a lot of teaching experience behind that, if you guys really want to know. If you've watched these, I might have mentioned it before, but years and years and years of teaching all different types of people. And I think what I try to do is, you know, for professional upholsterers watching the videos, they might chuckle and laugh at it, but I don't know why they would watch my videos, to be honest with you. But there's a lot of work behind it, both in the production that Patrick does and the editing, the teaching, years and years and years. And I'm glad that we can offer this, and I'm glad that we can offer it for free. I look at it as kind of like a mission in some ways. And then Sylvia actually says, too, I actually love hearing the lessons in upholstery. I don't know what she means, if she means stories, like we just told about packaging a chair to be delivered. Probably something like that. Well, we covered a lot here, Patrick. We haven't even gotten into the Facebook.
Yeah, I have a question from Claire.
Okay.
I have French 3rd century pieces, but I'm not strong enough to use a normal hammer to install the decorative nails. I've heard negative comments about pneumatic nail installers. Advice, please.
I think we might have answered this in the last show, but it's worth a revisit. I think she should use if she can't, tacking, I'll tell you something, tacking is hard. It can be difficult, and some of the hardwoods out there, forget about oak. You can't get anything in oak. Mahogany. Mahoganies are very hard, and most of the older furniture is hardwood. So I think that you can use the gun. With the pneumatic gun that shoots the decorative tacks, it actually does too good of a job. It goes in too straight. Too straight. Meaning that when you look at it like this at an angle, you're going to see it not. This is hard to explain, but when you do it, everything in upholstery is done at about a 10 or 12 degree angle. Randy, we can go either way with that one, but the pneumatic gun puts them in straight, and they don't look straight. So you have to, if she uses the gun, she can go back and just touch up with hammering by each tack if it needs it to get it in line. That's what I would suggest that she do. I think we answered that last week, but I'm not sure. Anything else, Patrick?
Claire's comment.
So Denise has a lot. She has like 3 here. Denise says, haven't completed the inside wings yet, but think ahead on how to attach the outside back. Any suggestions? Oh, she's got looks like a channel back. Looks like a caterpillar, doesn't it, you guys? You see it? So she definitely has to be at the wood frame. She doesn't want to be in her padding. And hopefully, if she's looked at the videos and she's learned, and I'm sure she has, she knows that she can't, no matter how thick the padding is, the padding cannot come over your tack line. See, she's got a tack line here, staples, see the staples. And ideally, you want, there's a wood frame underneath there. Try to visualize this, you guys, the wood frame. And ideally, you want to be at the top of the wood frame with your piping. I think she should put piping on this. Piping, yep. And she should be able to actually feel the edge of the wood with her finger to make sure that she lines it up, because it's challenging because it's curved, right? So there you go. The key is, do not bring your padding over the wood rail. That's the key. Have it in the very most feathered over the wood rail. Feathered, like the Dacron or cotton, whatever she's using. Foam, forget it. You can't take foam and staple it. I mean, you can do that, but where you're going to put your outside back becomes a very difficult task at that point. Okay, so be careful with these transitions. And this is another thing we talk about. I can't say this enough. On the online classes, if I had a nickel for every time I said transition to Jimmy, that's a very important transition line from the inside back to the outside back. And that's what you get with you hear me talk about that forever. It's really important. Okay, so Denise says, can a glue gun for crafts be used to attach Gimp? I'll be attaching decorative tacks too. So Denise, if you're using the Gimp underneath the decorative tacks, all you need to do is pin staple or pin tack the Gimp on. You don't really have to glue it. In regards to the craft gun, those glue guns that they sell in craft stores are not adequate for you. They're made purposely at low temperature, and so they do not melt the glue in a way for a professional upholsterer. They never get hot enough. You need to get a really good glue gun, an industrial glue gun. Now, if you go to a craft store and they have a gun that has two settings, a high and a low, you should be good. And what I do is I tape the glue gun setting on high. Yeah, I'll show you. I got it right here. So I can't remember where I got this gun, but I have that taped on the high setting. The low setting will not work. So you have to be careful with hot glue. If you're going to use it with the Gimp without the tacks, you have to be careful. The best way to put it on would be, because the Gimp is porous, especially Gimp and not French trim. French Gimp is a little bit, the weave is a little bit thicker. Double pipe, you don't have to worry about seepage, but there's seepage. And the way to stop seepage on Gimp is probably to, instead of doing a bead, you don't want to do a bead, because that bead will bleed through the Gimp. What you want to do is take the back side of the Gimp. It's a little harder to do this, but squeeze your trigger, and then with the head of the gun, just kind of spread the glue and then apply it. That's a little bit harder. You need to practice that, because most of us, we want to put the Gimp on the chair, on the piece of furniture first in a bead, and then you have more control over it. But that will cause seepage. If you do have seepage, you could take a cleaner afterwards. Usually, a good upholstery cleaner will take the excess glue that seeps through, and you should have no problem with that. Good questions, Denise. Really, she's coming along. And then the last one from Denise is, "Hi Kevin, in today's Upholstery Show Live, can you talk about when to use cardboard tacking tape versus ply grip when attaching the outside back?" So usually tacking strip is used at the top if it's a straight back. Sometimes if it's a solid fabric, I've been known to put the tack tape down one side and then use the ply grip on the top and the side. That's very unusual for me though, but there's some reasons that if you have a really tall wing chair, for instance, and you have a straight fabric and the chair is straight, it saves little time tacking one side, but it has to be the right circumstances for that. Now, on her chair that has a little bit of a curve, usually it's not a good idea for most people to use tack tape on curves, but you can do it. You can make a pattern with the outside back first. You can pin it all on and chalk that curve, and then cut the fabric a half an inch above the curve, and then flip it over and put your cardboard tacking tape on. You can do that. I don't need to do that process. I kind of know how fabric folds. You could experiment with this if you want, Denise. Instead of doing what I just said about cutting, chalking, and cutting, you could put the fabric up there and put like little fold. The ends will always be a little bit longer than the middle, put it that way, depending on how much of a curve it is. Are you following this? It's a little trickier to use cardboard tack tape on a curve. I guess that's the bottom line. But usually if it isn't curved, it's at the top where you use the tack tape. So I hope that answers her questions. And I think the next thing, Patrick, will be how long are we into this, Patrick, right now?
About an hour.
Good. I think, do you have, I don't have my phone today, so I can't show you guys pictures unless Michaela can do that somehow. But she's going to read to me some estimates, because I know Janine and some people really look forward to this part of the show. So I want to make sure we at least get the questions out there, or for the estimates. So I should talk a little bit about estimates lately. Talk about a little bit of an economy is turning just a little bit. Patrick didn't want me to go on sadly about this, and I won't.
Well, I didn't want any negative.
But, we all know what inflation is. Patrick, I've been around. I started my work days at 1975 at a supermarket. In 1976, they started to have these shortages of gasoline and meat, believe it or not. They had meat shortages back then in the 70s. Okay? So I've been through the ups and downs, and I know, and what I see right now with these shortages and the gas going up and the inflation rates is one of the reasons why I decided to do the online classes.
You mean the in-person?
Because the in-person classes, because the price points are going down a little bit. Okay, so
it's also our slow season too. Every year is the summer.
Well, summer, but this year's a little differently, where people are starting to. There's a little. It feels different. Let's put it that way. Feels different. So people are a little bit less confident, let's say. So they may be making choices instead of buying upholstery. Maybe they want to buy that nice steak that they saw, that T-bone steak back. So you're going to see, with Michaela's going to be asking me prices, you're going to see about, I don't know if you guys would be savvy enough, I'm sure you would be, to see about a 10% less on the labor. So we're going to try to capture some of these people that are asking estimates for estimates. You got the first one there, Michaela?
Yep. We actually don't have any new estimates.
You can read some then.
Yeah, I can read some that we've already
Couple.
answered that were just like from yesterday or the day before.
Okay.
Okay, let's see.
Are we caught up on the comments, Patrick?
Yep.
Sure.
Yep.
This is what they call dead air. This isn't a good thing.
Okay, so here is one.
Here we go.
They actually didn't include a price pictures. So, but you did answer this without pictures.
Okay.
So, this person says 2 cushions from a Bauhaus rocking chair reupholstered. The cushions are not attached to the chair. I sent a photo to upholsteryonbroadway.com because I didn't have one in the file to upload here. Oh, you may have seen the picture there, Kevin.
Okay. So sometimes when people are asking about cushions, they forget to tell you that they might need new filling. They forget to tell you the size. So instead of like a back and forth in regard to those things, because you could go a string of these emails before you get to the real project, So I start out on this one. I remembered when I quoted this. I start out just giving the labor price, so and the yardage, because I know it's a chair. I know it couldn't be anything more than 27, 28, or even 30 inches wide. So I said $150 each chair for labor and 2 yards of fabric for each cushion. So they did. Did they follow up with that estimate, Michaela?
They did actually, and I'm not sure if you read any of this.
No. Why don't you give me the follow up to that?
Okay, so they said, 150 times 2, question mark?
So I say, sorry, I don't want to, I'll interrupt you for a minute. So I say, when I quoted, I said 150 each, right?
Yes.
So people only want to hear what they want to hear, right? Mm-hmm. So was it $75 each? It was 150 each. So go ahead.
I bought the fabric at Simmons before the pandemic.
Oh my God.
Let me know when I can bring in the cushions. The current cushions have piping on the upholstery, which I think looks nice, gives the cushions in the chair some definition. And so I answered this myself because you had already answered the labor part. I said, yes, 150 times 2. Also, just letting you know that if you choose to use your own fabric, there will be a 25% upcharge on the labor due to our policy being that we require the purchase of our own fabric because we sell our own. That's if the fabric can even be used, as it is a few years old by now.
There you go. It's been sitting in their shop against the wall in a roll with the moisture, with the heat, and people don't realize that it has a shelf life. Fabric has a shelf life, like milk has a shelf life. Fabric has a shelf life, not as short as milk, but it's still, it's really important not to have dried up fabric. Go ahead, Michaela.
Yeah, well, that also, the fabric could have been already cut and removed from the roll too, which wouldn't that make it less than if it was still in the roll?
Yeah, it's exposed to light and the elements more.
So we don't know that that information.
And you don't know the double rubs, you don't know
Yep.
if it's treated, you don't know what the cleaning codes are or anything like that.
Yep. So I did say 300 plus an additional 25%. That would be 375. Again, that's if the fabric can be used. You're welcome to bring it in to Kevin to see if it's okay. And they say the fabric seems fine, not dry, so I should bring it in during your business hours anytime. Yes, that would be fine. Do you have a day in mind so I can make sure Kevin is there? This Monday or Friday. And I said Friday would be best actually because we're not open Mondays. 11 to 3 weekdays besides Monday, and 9 to 2 on Saturday, which Kevin will be there definitely. I can make sure he's there Friday. Very good. Maybe right at 10 a.m.? Sure, that would be fine. I mean 11 a.m., sorry.
Yeah. Is that it?
Yes.
Now, you guys, you see, this is a long process. It's a very small job, but Michaela has to be courteous. She was not going to be anything else. But what we're doing is we're educating the customers, and it's not just customers. It's when I was working with designers, it was the same thing. It's an education. So one of the things that I realized when this woman is talking about her fabric, there's no indication how thick the fabric is or what the weave is or anything like that, or even if it could have piping. I mean, people bring me fabric that's so thick that a piping wouldn't look good at all. It would look like a rope aesthetically. People don't think about the aesthetics a lot of times when they're choosing fabric. They're only looking at color, right, Michaela? Mm-hmm. They're not looking at how it's going to look once it's made up. And that's one reason why we're just so strong now. We never used to be. How long have we been strong? About a year now with using our own fabrics, because we know the fabrics. There's not one fabric that we have for sale that I think is going to be a bad fabric to use for all these other reasons why I'm saying this, right? Mm-hmm. But you could see how we're in the public, people are asking for these things. Oftentimes we don't even get these jobs, so there's a lot of upfront time that's, we're wasting time. I'm not sure if we could call it wasting, Michaela. But, this customer could come in. What happens if this customer comes in and says, you can't use this fabric? Then what's she going to do?
Yeah, exactly.
She's wasting a lot of time, too. I had a call today, I just wanted to mention, on the same lines. It was from, I recognized the name of the designer, I won't even tell you where she was from, but she's a very well-known designer. And she was calling from outside of the area. And she says, hi, I'm so-and-so. I said, hi, how are you? And she said, well, I'm looking for an upholsterer in the Boston area, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your how you do things. And I said, well, I've been doing this over 40 years. I said, we're a retail operation, and we do require people buy our own fabric, or that there's a 25% upcharge if there isn't, and then click. She hung up. That wasn't very nice, was it?
Yeah.
I'm not like that. I don't hang up on people, Anyhow, whatever. Go ahead. Is there anything else?
Well, there is one. Somebody you answered this, and I was wondering if they actually ever did text you about it.
Maybe they did. Why don't you read it?
So it says, good morning. My name is Sarah. I'm the GM at Lansdowne Pub in Boston. We have a handful.
Patrick's going to like this one.
We have a handful of booths and a bunch of chairs I'd like to get reupholstered. They have fabric on the backs and seats. There's about 4 booths and 150 to 200 chairs. Please let me know if you'd be able to come by and give a quote or check it out. Thank you.
So.
And you did say text photos to your number.
So do you know why I said text photos?
Because it would be a waste of time to go down there.
Maybe not, but why I asked her, and she hasn't done that. That was 2 days old. So what she's doing is she's looking for her 3rd estimate. I might be the 2nd estimate. I don't know. She's going to get 3 estimates, though, and I'm not going to go downtown Boston for 2 hours out of my way for her to compare my estimate to the other competition that's out there. And I'm not really doing commercial work. I mean, would I take the right commercial job? Yeah, if it's worth the money, yeah. But I can guarantee you that my price would probably be coming in at maybe $100 I might not beat the other two guys. I don't know. I might beat one. There might be one that's always less than you are. And the problem with commercial, one of the problems is, I'll tell you a little story. So she hasn't returned the call because she won't even take the time to text me the pictures of her project because she's using us for the third estimate. I don't know. So one job that I did try to get is the Coast Guard. They're trying to help the military, and they were branching the military, the Coast Guard, and we're along. Let's just say we're along the shore. I won't tell you what station it was because it's not a happy story. But anyhow, they had a project for me. It sounded like, hey, I was the only one bidding on this. It was during the pandemic. It was the height of the pandemic. So here I am willing to go into on a Coast Guard ship with all these young men running around without masks on, I might add. And I go down into this old ship, this Coast Guard ship. I don't know if it was a cutter or what it was, but it was down in the officers' club in the bottom of this ship. And you wouldn't believe, ships aren't made for tall people, Patrick. Yeah, they're made for 5'2" or 5'6" at the most. And I had to go down every little corridor, you wouldn't believe it. And there was a job there as a sectional, but it all came apart, which would have to because there's no way it would get in there. So I gave them a written estimate. We took the time. Did you work on that with me, Patrick?
Yeah, I think we did.
The Coast Guard estimate. So I presented to the petty officer or whatever he was, and he says, that looks good. I'm going to give it to the commander. The commander's going to give it to this guy, the regional commander. The regional commander's going to give it to this guy. And okay, fine. So then about a week goes by, and this petty officer calls me back. He says, we like you. We think you're going to do a good job. It can do any better on the price. I said, wow, you getting other bids? Yeah, we got 2 other bids, and you came in a little bit less. I said, no, I'm done. I don't play that game. I don't play that. He was playing a game with me. He was trying to get a bidding war between 3 upholsterers, and I'm not going to do that. I don't have the time. I already wasted enough time on that job, so I bowed out. This was the same thing, I think. Thank you for inquiring, but how sincere is the inquiry? And I smell these things out. And you guys, the reason I'm talking about this is because I want to help people who are starting in this business. You really have to know who your good customers are, who are the ones that are going to treat you well. But you're looking for to be treated well in this business. I mean, it's okay to give estimates. It depends on where you are too in your career. If you're in the beginning, you're willing to do that. That's fine. Or if you have a secretary that's willing to draw out all these estimates because they want it. They want all these estimates, especially military, right? They want it all, typed and it has to be presented well. I don't usually do that. I'm usually hand. I have, right, Patrick?
Yeah.
We have hand invoices. And we do that for a reason too, so that we can listen to the customer and write down notes. It might look like chicken scratch, but it has all the information on there, and I very rarely make a mistake. So, do we have anything else, or are there any other comments?
We do have one more that we can do. This was from yesterday.
Okay, sorry guys if I go on. What I'm trying to do is trying to get as much information out to you guys as I possibly can in a short amount of time. So I'm talking fast. I really haven't had that many coffees.
I was going to say.
Okay, so this, she says...
I'm not complaining either.
She says, hi, this spring I inherited from my mom an antique Stickley armchair with the directive to have it restored to its original form. The leather seat needs to be reupholstered. Do you have experience with Stickley furniture with leather reupholstery of this type? I just moved to the area and would be happy to bring you the chair if so. If not, can you refer me to someone who does? And they send a second email saying I should have included photos. Here are 2 photos. One shows the label that says Stickley, and then Pat, if you wanted to show this to the camera, this is part of the chair.
Yeah, we do a lot of Stickley. Being in the Boston area, we do get a lot of Stickley, and we're really good at, obviously, the materials being used on the skill level. But what I said to her, I said, but we aren't using the leathers today. I just can't use the leathers. I'm done with bad leathers. I went into a house today that a woman spent a lot of money on a leather settee, tufted, by the way, tufted back leather, but the seat was upholstered, and her cats, she was complaining about her cats. I said, don't blame the cats too much because that's a good leather. You should be able to take those scratches and rub that out with your hand or a cloth, and they should come right out. Because the good leathers of years ago would be dyed so many times. There's so much work put into it with the dyes. There's layer after layer after layer of dye so that it penetrates down into almost to the back of the leather. I mean, they don't do that now. I think a lot of it is environmental issues that don't allow them to do that, which is a good thing. But you got to know what you're getting in today's leather. I just stay away from it. The faux leathers are no better. Anything else, Patrick?
Okay, you want to catch up on some of these comments?
There are 2 comments.
That's where we started. I think that's where I left off.
Okay, Denise says, thank you for answering my questions. I do understand. I'll be using the ply grip to attach the back. I'll try tacking the Gimp. SG says, designers are a pain in the arses. And Randy followed up with, and then beat you up for a lower price.
Well, it's interesting though, guys. I was working with designers exclusively for a good 15-year period there in my early days too. I used to have to be I was the front man to your lights blinking here, Patrick. So we might have to end this.
We got 5 minutes.
Yeah, we'll be able to do that.
I just follow up with this, and I have to say that some of the wealthiest upholsterers I know are the ones that have worked with the top echelon of designers. They do make the most money because designers are very good at seeking out the best. But what they're also good at, like Randy said, they also want the best and the cheapest. But that's like the majority of people or designers. But then there's that top echelon of designers that will pay for the quality. But I can tell you that upholsterer is not selling his own fabric. He's when you do work with that top echelon, you are getting really probably almost double what I'm getting. But you're not your own. It's a really tough way to make a living. But you have to be really on top of your game. And you have to work long hours, but those are the people who are really not many can work in that capacity. And designers are always looking for somebody that's less expensive. So aren't we all, right? Aren't we all looking for the best deal, right, Patrick?
Of course.
So is that it, Michaela?
Well, just to finish up the email that we had started, so they said, so you responded saying, we do a lot of these. A restored cost for upholstery is $5.25 plus 1 yard. We can't recommend leather or faux leather today due to poor quality. And she says, thanks. I can come by this week with the chair. Can we make a fabric choice then? And you said, yes, that would be fine. 11 to 3, Tuesday to Friday. Please text ahead.
There you go. So I think we got a sale there, which is really important. So we're gonna cut out now. Thank you guys. And Patrick, do you want to look at turn the camera to the classes?
Yes.
To remind people.
This will all be online too.
This will be online. How long does it take you to get that online, Patrick?
Well, I'm gonna do that. You want me to do it this evening, right?
ASAP.
Okay.
Yeah.
So hopefully by the end of the evening.
But for our listeners and viewers, they can text me again. My number's not up there on the board, but it's 978. Let me just put it up here. 978-460-5184 to Kevin to get you into the class. We'll get you registered and worry about payment later. Okay, guys? Thanks, and I'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.